It's not just the cynics who know the script. The one where a veteran, a little bit of an older player, comes to Pittsburgh, does well, gone by the trade deadline, and if that doesn't happen, gone for sure come that offseason. Maybe Connor Joe should be an exception. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins, where you found this. Cubs 5, Pirates 4 in 10 innings. Whatever. Joe went 2 for 2 with 2 walks and an RBI. And he's kind of quietly, I'd say, having a decent season. Maybe a little bit better than decent when you consider that he was signed out of free agency for 1 year at $735,000. Now, $735,000 is a pretty nice chunk of change for you and me, but it's rock bottom. It's major league minimum. And what he's done for that is to hit 255, 351 on base percentage because he really works the count, gets his walks, a 794 OPS coming off the bench, 9 home runs. All of that plus the versatility that he shows in the field, not to mention efficiency. He's a pretty good defender in right field. You could also use him at the other corner outfield. And then he plays first base. And of course, he's been playing a lot more first base since both Carlos Santana and Ji-Man Choi were sent out in exactly the kind of transactions I was just mentioning to you. He doesn't have to be that. Joe's going to be 32 years old. So even though he got a late start, had some challenges in baseball and in life with a successful fight against cancer, he's got some baseball left in him. Arguably, and based on what we're witnessing, some good baseball left in him. And I'm going to keep saying this until maybe eventually it comes true. But one of these days, you're going to have to hang on to somebody as part of what absolutely should be considered the window beginning for real in 2024. They're not going to have anywhere to slither out of this one. 2024 has to be a real season of real contention. It's year 5 of this front office, and all they've done is lose, and for the most part, lose big. So even if, as I strongly suspect that they'll at least consider, and I know for a fact it'll be considered on the other end, the Pirates bring back Santana, you're going to need guys who can take care of business on and off the field. Joe, he is that. He is that. You're not going to see a lot of extra animated reaction out of him. He's a pro. You're not going to hear bombast out of him, and I mean at all. And not only does he conduct himself that way, but how do I put this without pointing negatively to somebody else? But there are players who lean on him. That's the way that I can put it. There are players who need him around, and that sort of thing can be overstated. It's not, a nursery room. But I've seen several occasions of which a younger player will go to Joe. They feel maybe more comfortable going to him than they would, someone like Andrew McCutchen. Not that Kutch would turn up his nose at them, but Kutch, he's Kutch, and they see how the city reacts to Kutch, and Kutch, he's a big deal. So it's nice to have some of those intermediaries in there as well. Look, the other thing, and maybe this is where I should have started in making this case, he's not going to be expensive. Yes, his price is going to go up. It should go up. He's earned it. He is producing at a very healthy level for a big league bench player. But by how much? Double? Triple? Just for once, consider it. And if you don't consider it, consider the alternatives. Oh, wait, there are none. And if you go to the outside, you run the risk of bringing in someone of lesser character, someone who doesn't fit in as well, not to mention someone who might not produce as much. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern, that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park.
Your front door, your car, your bike, your computer, your gun. Safety is a habit. Every day you lock and secure your home and everything you want to keep safe. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Visit ProjectChildSafe.org. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
And today's J1Q comes from Brian, who says, "Hey DK, a common thing I hear is that you need power from your corner infielders and outfielders. When a third baseman doesn't hit for power, like Jared Triolo, question marks are raised about his future with the team, even when he's hitting for a decent average and getting on base. But when your shortstop is a guy like O'Neal Cruz or your center fielder is a Kutch circa 2013, does that take away some of the need for your power to come from these positions? In short, why does it matter where your power comes from as long as you have it?" The first thing I feel like saying here, Brian, to you, is it's a totally legit question, is don't discount that Triolo could come with some power over the course of time. I think it's gotten either forgotten or it was never known by a lot of the fan base that Triolo underwent a hamate surgery earlier this year. And that hamate bone in the hand, without boring everybody with medical stuff, it's a really routine recovery. It's a completely useless bone in the hand, and it gets removed from a lot of baseball players' hands. It sounds gross, right? Yeah, I didn't mean to do that to everybody this early in the morning. But the biggest after effect, players can hit, but they don't hit for power. It takes about 6 months for the power to return. Well, of course, in Triolo's case, there's not that option. 6 months is the length of an entire season. So Triolo, to his credit, has come back and hit effectively. As you say, he's hit for average. He's gotten on base. And of course, he's been as good as ever defensively. The question is, what do you do with him, in part because of what you mentioned about power, but also in part because his primary position is third base, and that kind of belongs to somebody. But I'm going to throw something else in here, and I don't think anybody's really going to like this. But let's not presume, since you mentioned him, that Cruz will stay at shortstop. Just saying. Okay, I haven't heard that he won't. This is not based on any kind of information or whatever. I'm just throwing out a presumption. If Cruz becomes your first baseman, okay, you have yourself a very tall target over there, which is always ideal. You have someone whose bat you need in the lineup every day. And yeah, I told you weren't going to like that, huh? But it would move the power to a corner position. It obviously would also waste an 80 grade arm for the most part, as well as other considerations. But yeah, I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We're going to do another one of these on Monday.